Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to cover Osmiridium production. Now, Osmiridium is one of the most late game materials which is very difficult to produce, and also the process is very destructive. But it is also necessary because Osmiridium is required to craft each and every DFC component. So if I bring up the recipe for every component here, you will see that each component requires 4 Osmiridium ingots. Therefore, in order to make a standard DFC reactor, you will need minimum 16 Osmiridium ingots. So yeah, for that we are going to use the SOYUZ and all of the machinery that you can see here. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Step 1 is sending Gerald to the moon, and in order to do that we are going to use the SOYUZ rocket. Now let me give you guys a quick recap about how this whole process works. Using the satellite ID manager, assign Gerald a random frequency and then set a satellite designator to the same frequency as well. Now get an orbital module, and with these three things we will get a SOYUZ rocket ready for launch. So for that we are going to need kerosene, liquid oxygen and some power. Now Gerald goes into the satellite slot and the orbital module goes in the bottom slot like this. Once all of the boxes are green, we are ready to launch a SOYUZ rocket. So press the launch button, and after 30 seconds the rocket will launch and deliver Gerald to the moon. Now once the rocket has been launched successfully, you will get an achievement. And earning this achievement means that Gerald is now on the moon and you are ready to launch Tom on the Earth. So we are going to do this process far away from our base. I am going to go like 5000 blocks away. This is an overkill, but yeah, it is a destructive process. And in order to launch Tom, just take your satellite designator and right click anywhere on the ground where you would like to launch. Then another countdown will begin and Tom will start its descent on the Earth. So I'm going to speed through this process here. Here you can see Tom slowly coming down. And once Tom hits the ground, the impact will cause a huge explosion. So I'm going to let the explosion render and I'll see you on the other side. Alright, so here's the crater that has been formed by the explosion. I am on fire, and that's because I am standing in open air right now. For one day, there will be firestorm globally in your whole world. In order to escape the damage, you can either stay away from open air or you can wear an armor which has fireproof status on it. So I am going to go with the steam armor or the steam suit basically. And as you can see, aside from all of the lava, the entire impact crater has been covered in Tektite. But Tektite is not what we need. So this is normal Tektite, but what we need is this, Osmiridium infused Tektite. And these are very easy to spot as there are these bright white spots. So yeah, you will be easily able to spot them. Now in order to get this out, you will need any pickaxe. A normal pickaxe will also work. And mining them will give you Osmiridium infused Tektite. So mine as many as you can. The entire crater is going to be filled with this. Now minimum 2 stacks are required. It is preferable to have more than 2 stacks. So for now we are going to start working with 2 stacks. Now to process this, the first machine that we are going to use is going to be the shredder. Grab all of your Osmiridium infused Tektite and place it down in the shredder. The output is going to be Tektite powder. So I'm going to sprint through this footage and get as much Tektite powder as you can. So once you have all the Tektite powder, the second stage of production will involve the centrifuge. So I have 3 centrifuges here. Start placing your Tektite powder in the centrifuge and that will give you 3 outputs in total. So the first output here is going to be the meteorite powder, the second output, which is the main one, is the Paleogenite powder, and finally we will also get dust. The main object of interest, as I told you, is going to be the Paleogenite powder. Now each process will make 6 dust, so after every 10 processes you will need to get the dust out. So as you can see, the sky has turned blood red and we are down to our last Tektite powder. So once the process is done and after arranging, we got a lot of Paleogenite powder. Now these are tiny piles of Paleogenite powder. To convert it into whole, we will need an automatic crafting table or even a normal crafting table. Set it to Paleogenite powder like this and then start placing all of the tiny piles in there. So here we got total 14 pieces of Paleogenite powder. And with this we can move to our next step, which is going to be the chemical plant. Now in the chemical plant, we are going to use the Osmiridic solution production template. So if we take a look on this template here, we will need 4 things to produce this: Paleogenite powder, fluoride, bismuth nugget and hydrogen peroxide. So hydrogen peroxide will not only be needed by the chemical plant but also by the ore acidizer. So set another chemical plant and set it to produce a lot of hydrogen peroxide. And while we are at it, let's set the main chemical plant to produce osmiridic solution. So the raw materials were fluoride, bismuth nuggets and also finally the Paleogenite powder. So we have 14 pieces of Paleogenite powder. Each piece of powder will give you 1 bucket or 1000 millibucket of osmiridic solution. Now as I have the chemical plant connected to the SILEX, all of the solution is being transferred into it. And both of these SILEX will fill up equally with osmiridic solution. But if you want to do this process manually, you will need to use the hazardous material tank. No other tank will work for the osmiridic solution. So now both of the SILEX have filled up with 7000 millibuckets each of osmiridic solution. In order to process this, we are going to need the FEL and set it to gamma rays. For that we are going to use the spark laser crystal, turn on the FEL and that will start processing the osmiridic solution. Each bucket or 1000 millibucket will give you 1 impure osmiridium powder. So in the end, we will end up with total 14 impure osmiridium powder. The last second step of production will be the ore acidizer. Get your impure osmiridium powder in the ore acidizer, and by the way, using effectiveness upgrade is highly recommended for increasing the yield. So once you have the powder in there, each powder or each piece of powder will give you 1 osmiridium crystal. So in the end, we are going to end up with 15. As I told you, we had effectiveness upgrade on. That's why we ended up with 1 more crystal than we had. Alright, and if you remember, we produced a lot of dust as well. You can convert all of that dust into block of scrap, which can be used in a furnace. Furnace is going to be our final step. So I am going to use the iron furnace. Place down your fuel and then the osmiridium crystal. Each crystal will give you 1 osmiridium ingot. So in the end, we are going to end up with 15 osmiridium ingot. 1 short than what we needed. So yeah, you can always go back to the crater and then mine the osmiridium infused tektite again. So there we go, we ended up with 15 osmiridium ingots. And now you can start crafting your DFC under this blood moon sky. Like this video, please smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Peace out guys.